Good morning.
Good morning. How's everybody today? So happy to see you. So it looks like this morning we have Bill Hoffman on music, special music, and Puerto Rican piano. And Doug Watts will be our speaker this morning. And if you have a cell phone with you, if you could please put it on mute or silent, that would be great. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Is the sound on, Jan?
Get back here, you got it turned
Okay,
on?
thank you. I'm so glad. At least we have everything working today. It's good to have that back in operation. And this is a beautiful day the Lord has made. And I'm so glad those in the congregation can join us. And those that are on the internet at home or wherever you're setting it this week at the office, I'm glad you joined us also. Well, I've saved one up. I think I've got one for us to open the whole Sunday. I think it's good. There's that church down the road. You know, we always are talking about that church down the road. Well, they were having a board meeting. And the board meeting was to discuss salaries for the coming year. And they met and they determined that, well, you know, we don't have enough money to give the pastor a raise this year. So the board chairman said, well, don't worry, I'll tell him. Don't worry. So she met with the board chairman. The board chairman met with the pastor. And she said, I'm sorry, we just don't have the funds to pay you an increase in salary this year. And he said, you must. I'm just a poor preacher. And she said, I know, we hear you every Sunday. That's down the street. Down the street. Has nothing to do with this place. Now's the time for our Bible verse, and often, as you know, I like to do sort of like an inspiration. And it occurred to me this week that there just seems to be a lot of discourse going on, and a lot of political fever going on, and people just seem to be upset. Pandemics going on, and we sometimes forget what Paul said, to look for what is pure, and joy, and lovely, and in good order. It reminded me that there was an incident in Chicago where a mother, she was a harried mother, and there was a businessman sitting across from her at an airport. And she had two children, one like a 7-year-old and one like a 4.5-year-old. And the 4.5-year-old was just giving her a hard time. He just didn't want to be there. And the 7-year-old had a little toy truck, and he was playing with it, and then he went over and gave it to his younger brother, quieted him down immediately. And he said, here, play with this. This is fun. And the harried businessman, he saw this. He saw, well, that's something good, isn't it? I can see something good there. And then it also reminds me of the Halloween, this past Halloween, where the kids were out trick-or-treating, and this one little boy went up to a house, and the man came out with a bowl, and he said, I'm sorry, I don't have any more candy. And the little child reached into his bag and put a piece of candy into the bowl. You know, with things happening like that, we're going to be okay, aren't we? We're going to be fine.
It's going to be all right.
In California, not long ago, a girls' club and a boys' club got together. There was an elderly couple, and the couple's appliances were in disrepair, needed to be replaced. You know, the stove, the refrigerator. And so the boys' club and girls' club got together, and they did a fundraiser. And they came together and bought these appliances for this elderly couple. We're going to be okay, aren't we? We're going to be okay. And then also in Illinois, there was a young couple. They had their first baby, a child. And as they brought the child home from the hospital, after about 2 or 3 months, they discovered the child was going to be deaf. 40 of their neighbors enlisted in the American Sign Language courses. So when that baby turned 3 years old, 40 of their neighbors were there signing the first thing she saw from her neighbors. Friend. With compassion like this, we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. We just need to look for it. Now, if you'll say the statement of being on the TV screen with me. God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am the individualized expression of God, and am every one of this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance.
Morning.
Good morning.
You'll notice Doug and I got the memo. I'm going to do a little up-tempo tune. My fingers will work right. From down in the Caribbean. It's called St. Thomas.
Now's the time in our service for, we call it our healing meditation. It's a time when we can set aside our worries and our cares that we might have brought in here. As we become comfortable in our seating in our chairs. We take that big, deep breath of life. I am reminded that several weeks ago that there was snow and ice on these Sundays and Saturdays. And then today we have such a beautiful, beautiful sunny day. And in each of those instances, there was beauty. You see, beauty is not so much the event, it is our perception. And if we look at our personal lives, or what we think might be troubles, if we look at it differently, we might perceive it differently. We might look at it as a learning experience. A way to grow, to change. That's what I hope it would take. In our prayer today, I want to mention some of the church members and those that we hold dear in our hearts as far as maybe a health issue, or even a finance issue. But health-wise, I want to send out our blessings, our care, our concerns, our prayers for Melanie Hollis, Gil Barber, Dr. Marita, and my Jan Graham, our Jan Graham. We hold these individuals just a little tighter in our hearts. And we pray that they know the closeness of God to them, the presence of God to them in their walk, in this their experience. Now in these next 90 seconds, I invite you in your own voice, your own inner voice, to turn your cares over, your worries, your thoughts, your thinking, over to that divine one. The one we call perfect love, perfect substance. Beginning now. Bring you peace, peace which surpasses all understanding. Go in peace, and it is so. Amen. And now, as we're in a prayerful mood, I ask you to follow with me on the TV screen as we say our Lord's Prayer. Our Father who is everywhere, your name is sacred. Your kingdom is come. Your will is throughout the earth, even as throughout the universe. You give us our needful bread from day to day, and you forgive us our offenses, even as we forgive our offenders. And you let us not enter into materialism, but you separate us from error, because yours are the kingdom, the power, and song, and praise, from our ages, throughout our ages, sealed in faith, trust, and truth. Amen. Amen. I was reading a book by, well, you know this name, Melinda Kramer. And I was reading a book by Melinda Kramer, and I came across this statement, and I thought it was just a wonderful statement, and I wanted to share it with you. And the statement starts out, do we in a future plane or existence, in other words, after we transition, do we retain that love we had for maybe a family member, a husband or a wife, or a son or a daughter, someone that we loved? Listen to this answer. Listen. Certainly, yes. Love is immortal. To love is to follow the law. You cannot lose love. Love is of God, His law. And I read that and I thought, oh, how reassuring. How wonderful, how reassuring. And it made me think about, maybe we have something in us that we need to be reassured every now and then in life. And you might laugh. I remember being a little fella, a little tyke, and I remember, I don't know who I came up to. It was either my mother or father. I said, how much do you love me? How much do you love me? And I think they probably answered, as much as all the love in the world. Oh, that was reassuring, wasn't it? And even now, as we're grown, sometimes we say, do you still love me? And someone might go, oh yes, a bushel and a peck. We sometimes need reassurance. It must just be built within us. I don't know why. But it got me thinking about someone in the Bible who needed some reassurance also. And it's in the book of Judges. And I want to start this out by well, we know what Israel looks like, don't we? We know what Israel, the country of Israel looks like. And up here at the top of Israel, in this time, about 3,000 years ago, there was a village called Ophrah. And just down from that is Canaan. And then towards the bottom of Israel was Midian. The Midianites, they were really Israelites. They were like the cousins of the Israelites. But they had been pillaging and trafficking horror and trafficking and stealing and so forth from the Israelites for about 7 years now. They would ride in on multitudes of camel, and they'd come in and steal everything, all the grain and the oxen and the sheep and the goats, the donkeys. And it left the poor Israelites impoverished. They were so frightened, they lived in caves and in the mountains. Well, we're in Ophrah right now. And it says the angel of the Lord came to the son of Josh, to a fellow by the name of Gideon. Oh, we've heard that name, Gideon. Well, here's where God found Gideon, where the angel of the Lord found Gideon. He was down in a wine press. And that's a big pit. He was down in the pit thrashing some wheat. You see, he was too scared to stand up on the regular ground, up within eyesight of maybe the Midianites. So he was down in a pit, perspiring, sweating, trembling with fear. And the Lord came to him and said, the angel of the Lord came and said, you courageous man, you warrior. He saw something in Gideon that Gideon did not see in himself. You courageous man, you warrior. Listen to this. Listen. In Gideon 6, the Lord turned to him and said, I will make you strong. Go and save Israel from the Midianites. I am sending you. And Gideon's response was, hey, why send me? My family is the poorest of all these Israelites, and of all my brothers, I'm the least. God finds us right where we are. Right where we are. And oftentimes we're our worst enemies. Go find someone else. I'm the worst brother of them all. Sometimes we're our worst enemies. I came across a story where this man, became interested in aquariums. he did some research. He found out, well, the aquariums, there are small ones, there are medium-sized, there are large ones. There are aquariums for freshwater and aquariums for saltwater. Aquariums for fishes. Aquariums even for coral. Aquariums for reptiles. And he said the one that interested him the most was the aquarium for crabs. He said because the aquarium for crabs, it has no cover on it. It seems like if one of the crabs is trying to reach to get to a higher position to get out, another crab will take its claw and pull it back in. That's what we do to ourselves sometimes, isn't it? Or other people do it to us. When the angel of the Lord said, I will make you great, I will make you strong, go defeat the Midianites. I guess our Gideon was thinking about that crab aquarium. Now, I'm not going to be political here, but I'll tell you this, and it goes along with what I'm saying. Adam Kissinger, the representative from Illinois, the Republican representative, was one of the 10 that voted to impeach then President Trump. And since then, he has gotten letters, not only from his constituents, but from his own family. This man, all he was doing was standing up for what he thought was the Constitution. And he's got letters from his family saying, you have turned to the other side. You are Satan now. I'm sure Gideon faced some of these same thoughts. Why would he pick me, the least of my brothers? Well, then Gideon said, well, if you are going to pick me, how do I know it's really from God? How do I know this message is from God? If you allow me, let me go home and I'll make you a dinner and I'll come back. So he went home, made a goat dinner and with some bread and brought it back to the angel of the Lord, laid it on a rock, and the angel of the Lord took a staff and burned up the food. And at that point Gideon said, you indeed are from God. And then he heard the voice of God say, don't worry, you're not going to die. But I'm going to send you, and you will defeat the Midianites. Now, the story of Gideon goes on just a little bit more. You see, the first test of God where he needed reassurance wasn't the only one. Gideon then spoke to God, and he said, if this is supposed to be true, and he had a wool of sheep, a sheep's wool, and he spread it out on the floor, and he said, if it's true, overnight, let the sheep's wool fill with water, but the ground around it be dry. So he came the next morning, and the sheep's wool was full of water. He could wring it out, a bowl full of water, and the ground around it was dry. Well, just like us, he wasn't through with his reassurance. I need to know more. Give me another sign. This man, he said, I'm going to make it harder. Make the ground around it wet, but the sheep's wool dry. Opposite. So he went home thinking, well, I don't know if that was God talking or not. Came the next morning. The ground around it was wet with dew, and the sheep wool was dry. And I got to thinking about this reassurance thing with us. Sometimes I wonder why we need reassurance. And I think I came upon an answer. I think when we need reassurance, what we should really do is turn to prayer. You see, prayer is our thoughts and our feelings. Prayer is the fulfillment of our thoughts. Prayer is not a passive activity. Prayer is our consent to walk closer with the presence of God. That is what prayer is, and that is what we invite with prayer, that consent to walk with God even closer. Now, going on about Gideon, the Mennonites numbered about 135,000 marauders, villagers. So Gideon called to his people, all the Israelites around. 32,000 of them showed up, were ready to help you. And God said to Gideon, there's too many of you. He said, what? 135,000 to 32,000? No. Yes, there's too many of you. Go to the people, go to the Israelites and say, those that don't really want to be here, those that would rather leave, go ahead and leave. Well, they did, and 22,000 of them chose to leave. That was just left with, he only had 10,000. 10,000 to 135,000. How's that going to work out? And then God said, no, Gideon, there's still too many of you. What? He didn't even need reassurance at this point. There's still too many of you. Because you'll think that you did it, not I. And so he said, go to the riverbank. Take these 10,000 soldiers with you. And let them drink from the water. And they did. 9,700 of them drank from their on all fours, just drinking out of the creek or the river. 300 of them cupped their hands in the water, brought the water to their lips. And God said, that's the number. Those are the ones I want. And I thought about that. I thought, that's strange. He sent 9,700 of them again. So he had 300 soldiers. And then I realized that by cupping the water, they were being very intimate, weren't they? It was an intimate act, bringing the water to your lips. This past week, I was reading about how therapists can sometimes tell couples how intimate they are with each other, by how they cup their hands and how they interlock their hands when they're with each other. It said that those who will couple their hands and interlock hands are more prone to intimacy with each other. So I was thinking that, well, by cupping their hands and bringing that water, he was telling God that, yeah, we'll be intimate with you, Father. Well, here's what happened. This is an amazing battle. 135,000 ruthless Mennonites, 300 Israelites. Gideon gave each of them a trumpet, divided his crews up, divided 100, 100, 100, surrounded the encampment of the Mennonites. They had torches underneath pots. And he said, when I blow my trumpet, you all blow your trumpets. Take the pot off the torch and let the torch shine. And they did that. And the 135,000 Mennonites got so confused they slay each other. And that brought peace to Israel. Reassurance. Now let me point something out to you. I talked about prayer, didn't I? How to handle reassurance. Pray. Pray's not passive. Pray's our consent to walk with God. And I know most of us know this, but there's some maybe that are watching for the first time, or some of us might need to hear this again because it's such a wonderful thing. It's called the SFGTD box. What? Something for God to do box. I know we've all heard this. Maybe you hadn't, but it's something to go over again. You see, God doesn't sleep, nor does he slumber. And if you have a problem just too big to handle on your own, and you know, when you get to that problem, you know that one I'm talking about. What you do is, if you're visual like I am, you can place this problem in a imaginary box, or if you're tactile, you can at home have a little box or a drawer, and you place the problem in the box. And you have to know that God will solve it in His time, in His way. Here's a trick too. You don't take it out of that box unless you've prayed about it and you think that you can resolve it yourself. Otherwise, you'll just slow the process down. Keep it in the box. God promises us that if we leave the problem in the box, He will not sleep, He will not slumber. He asks us to rest, to pray, and the problem will be solved. Oh, and one other thing. Anytime you might need Him, you can find Him in prayer. Thank you. Bill, will you close us out?
Slight change of plans here. I'm going to do a tune called "The Nightingale Sang in Barclay Square." It was really popular in England during World War II. And it's about reassurance during a terrible time, also in love.
Now is the time in our service where we get to give back. We call it the blessing of our gifts. Please, if you'll recite after me, it's on the TV screen. Today, I acknowledge God, omnipresent, as the source of all good, as the source of my good. With this acknowledgement, I accept His will, which is abundance in every aspect of my life. I release all thoughts of lack and limitation, and I am open and receptive to the increased flow of abundance to me right now. I joyfully accept the gifts of life and give freely of the special gift that I am. Through me, God omnipresent, blesses and multiplies this gift for all. Thank you, dear God.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, today is birthday Sunday, and we have lots of birthdays in March. And I don't know that any of them are here. DJ Barber, Elton Fields, E.J. Brown, Stephanie Robinson, Bob Edwards, and Kathy Thompson, and none of them are here, but we're going to sing. I'm not singing, Rick's going to play happy birthday, and we're going to celebrate with ice cream cake. So y'all come next door after and have ice cream cake. And thanks, Ann, for picking that up today.
Tricia and Bill are going to play Happy Birthday, and we're going to jazz it up.
Okay, all right.
4-4 this time. Okay.
Speaking of birthdays, we need some people to sign up for a birthday Sunday cake, so that March is taken care of, but I think the calendar is pretty empty for the rest of the year. So if you would sign up for 1 month and bring birthday cake on the first Sunday, we would greatly appreciate it. And the calendar sign-up sheet is in the annex. If you,
Can I add something?
yes.
Bob Peters said if we get enough money to pay for the ingredients, he will pay for the cake in April. He will make a cheesecake in honor of Jan's birthday.
All right, I'll relate to that. Oh, Bob makes the most wonderful cheesecake, oh my gosh. All right, let's get on with the announcements. Next Sunday, or next Saturday night, daylight saving time starts again. It's hard to believe, but, anyhow, I'll be making a call, but you're gonna lose an hour's sleep next Saturday night. But also, we have scheduled for a movie next Saturday night, and we've been postponing because of different reasons. And the movie we were going to show, The Out-of-Towners, I think is correct. Our friend Judy Mason is the one that wanted to see that, but Judy took a fall this week and has really hurt herself, her face, and she's not sure she broke her nose yet. So we may or may not be doing that movie next week. I'll let you know as the week goes on as to how she is, because since she wanted to be the one, she wanted to see that movie, I want her to be here to watch it. So, but keep her in prayer because she fell, tripped over the dog and fell, hit her face on concrete. So she's not feeling too well, and her picture, she wasn't looking too good either, bless her heart. So anyhow, just keep her in prayer, and we'll let you know about that. And I'm assuming that Marita's going to have her IONS meeting Friday night. She didn't tell me, but I'll check with her and make sure that that's going on. I wanted to kind of update you as, first I want to talk about the newsletter. Everybody that's gotten the newsletter, we've had some really good feedback about it, and we're getting ready to do the second one. So if you have any news or anything you want to go into the newsletter, please let Ann or myself know. This is your newsletter. It tells you what's going on with people in the church, and that's why some people are keeping up with us now that we've been a whole year into this COVID virus. And so some people, and it's good to see some people back today. Even though we're getting vaccinated, we're still wearing our masks and we're still doing what we're supposed to be doing, and we will continue to do that. But this is your newsletter, so any bit of news that you want to put in there, you can see Ann and or me, but Ann's the one that's doing it, and she's done a great job with it, and we really do appreciate it. It was her idea, and I think it went over very well. So anything you want to go into, do you want to say anything about the newsletter?
Well, we're going to be putting recipes in it now and advertising, if you have something that you want to advertise. And we're also going to have a spot that if you have a big item for sale, that won't go in the church store, it's a large item, like even a car, advertise it in the little paper, and somebody around here may buy it, you never know.
So we're going to try to get this one out the first part of April, or maybe the middle part of April. We're going to try to do one every quarter. So again, and people that have pets, I know she's got a couple emails this week because I kind of pushed people at coffee the other night. But I know most people here have pets, so we're doing a little pet section. So take pictures of your pets, send them to her, and write a little note about them. So it just makes us more. We're already a family, but it makes us more aware of what people, you hear people talk about this and that, but until you like their pets, and if you don't see them all the time, now you know what they look like. And so anyhow, I think it makes things a little bit better, and it makes it really nice for people that still can't get out and get to church. So we'll try to get that out, like I said, the middle of the month. A little update on our maintenance. As you know, we got the new roof put on. They're going to put the gutters on probably in the next couple of weeks as soon as the gutter guy can get his schedule arranged. We've ordered the windows, and I think they will be 10 weeks out. Is that correct? So they will, hopefully they don't fall out before then. So we've been holding our breath. The two windows in the office back there are in really bad shape that we didn't know. So anyhow, that will be all taken care of. And so hopefully we had money to pay for all that, and hopefully we'll have money left over to repair a fence out here that's in dire need of some work to it. So, and also coming up probably in April, once the weather turns better, we're going to have some work days. We're probably going to try to have one a month during the spring so that we can get some work done outside. So keep that in mind, and we'll keep you posted on that. So just wanted to touch base a little bit about, Melanie is supposed to be going home Tuesday. That was the last I heard yesterday. And as far as I know, that's still on go. She's got a long road of recovery. So we ask that everybody continue to support her and also Tina. She's, as we said, she had a stroke and some other complications. But anyhow, we just know that she will be back soon. And since Melanie is not able to participate right now, the board has asked, she's not going off the board, but we need somebody to kind of be an alternative. So we've asked Pam if she would step up and be at the board meetings in case we have to have a vote or something. So Pam's going to be doing that until we can figure out what's going on with Melanie and if she'll be able to be on the board or whatever. So thank you, Pam, for doing that. So we appreciate it. And lastly, I just wanted to thank everybody. Some of you knew I had surgery, some did not. I didn't get a chance to talk to everybody individually. So, and then people found out after the fact, and they said, why didn't you tell me? But it's been like a whirlwind for 3 weeks. I found out I have stage 1 breast cancer, and it's all good. I had surgery last week, and that's why I wasn't here last Sunday, but I understand y'all didn't have a computer working or anything.
It's because you weren't here.
But all is fine. I will have to have some more surgery in a week, but everything's fine. And but I do appreciate the support of this church. And if it hadn't been for this church and the teachings, I would be handling it a whole lot different than what I'm doing. So I thank everybody, and I appreciate the flowers, the cards, the prayers. They'll say, oh, why not get to pray for you some more? And I said, well, dang, I hope you pray for me all the time. So, but anyhow, I do appreciate it, and it's all fine. It's all good, and I'm very confident that everything's going to be fine. Caught everything early, so it's all good. So again, I appreciate all the prayers and everything, all the support that everybody here gives me. So thank you very much. Anybody else have anything? Journaling Tuesday?
Journaling gone.
Coffees. Pretty soon we're going to be able to go back out to Mountain and sit outside. So that'll be good. So anybody else have anything? All right, then let's continue on.
Has been our practice in the last, 3 months, maybe 4. We close our service with a prayer for our country, individually. And I ask that you reverently pray in your own voice, your inner voice, in your own way, in your own manner, in your own fashion, for our country. Just for 90 seconds. From sea to shining sea, God bless America. Thank you.
little flowers for this week, Jane.
Nobody sponsored them, so if anybody wants to
All right,
sponsor them.
I'm gonna
Thank you,
sponsor
Rick.
flowers for you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
You take them home.
Thank you.